Welcome to Searching for Truth and Treasure in Alabama with Alabama historian, videographer, and speaker Jim Phillips. Jim has spent the last 40 years exploring and finding amazing artifacts on lesser-known sites in the state. He's here with us to discuss the how and where you can legally explore old, privately owned sites and find those amazing treasures from the state's past. Plus, he's going to tell you a story or two about hard-to-believe events he's encountered as he's toured the state. So let's get into it. Here's Jim Phillips. All right, everybody, welcome in. I'm Phillip here with Jim Phillips today, and Jim tells me today we're going to be talking about searching for truth and treasure, but also finding danger while doing this. And, of course, he's got an interesting story. So, Jim, how are you today?
I'm doing great. We're going to always lead off, maybe not always, but most of the time, with some mysterious stuff, which is called searching for truth. And then the treasure will be the second half, second two-thirds of this, the treasure, looking for treasure in Alabama. You know, one of the first crazy experiences I had, this was probably about 1990. I'm at the old Brookwood Shopping Village. You know where that is, Phil?
I do.
Are they out of business completely now? They got a restaurant too. This is a giant shopping mall. It was like prestigious.
I don't think there's much there.
It's almost like a ghost town now. But I'm there, and I'm going into the food court, and I am married at the time. We don't have our daughter yet, but I go up to order something, and some lady says something to me to my left, and I turn around and, good Lord, what a beauty. This is Mount Brook, right? The rich beauty. This is called the old money. Oh, the blouse, the low-cut blouse, the diamond jewelry, the hair. I fell in love just instantly. And I would not committed adultery, if the welcome mat. But I turned to her, and I've got a dentist friend that says things without thinking. He's just impulsive when he wants to pass a compliment, but he means it. I said to her, dear, that blouse and that hair just makes you. And she ate that up, and what do you do? And I realized I'm successfully flirting, and I'm doing it very vainly.
Right.
I'm married, and you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah,
I
didn't do that.
You might could say, were you lusting after? Well, maybe. But but I wouldn't have gone with it. But so anyway, let's just say I'm doing my own little sinful thing right there, right, which I should not be doing. And I'm laughing, and she's being cute with me, and I turned around. The guy's taking my order. I give it to him, and then I'm going to turn back to the beauty there, and I turn to the right because somebody's standing there staring at me.
Uh-oh.
I promise this is true.
Was it your wife?
No, but it would have been the look on the wife's face.
Uh-huh.
She had 3 little children with you and caught you doing something.
Uh-oh, yeah.
The hurt in this girl's face.
Mm-hmm.
She's looking at me, and no tears, but there was pain in her face. It's like, what's wrong? And I felt, whatever it was me.
Yeah.
She's looking at me, and she's pained. And it's the worst look, saddest look. And she says to me, never seen her before in my life, she says, Jim Phillips. Oh, no. She says, are you pleased with what you've been doing with your life? That's it. What do you say to somebody like that you've never met that says that?
I don't know.
Now, she's not handing out a card with some church. I'm not being critical of churches.
Right.
She's not saying, are you saved and all that? Don't ever ask me that. I did a bus tour with a church group, and this one lady got there, and I loved them, but she got off, and Jim, are you saved? Oh, there's just sometimes you don't do that to people. She says, are you saved? And I said, well, I don't know. And she says, don't you want to know if you're saved? And I looked at her and I says, actually, I like surprises. That shut her up.
Yeah, it's just nothing, no comeback for that.
Well, that wasn't a card from this girl.
Yeah.
Just this, she kept that pain look.
Right.
All I could say to her was, I don't know. I guess I'd have to think about that. And I turned around. I forgot about the beauty to my left I was just flirting with. And I turned, and the guy gave me my food, and I turned around to talk to this girl, which took about 5 seconds, turning my back, and she's gone. They're gone. This happens more often. Well, now, she had time to make it out the door into the crowd.
Yeah.
So I said to the guy there at the food court, did you see a girl standing there? He said, yeah, you were talking to her. He saw her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he saw her. So anyway, I ran out, and of course, there's a crowd, and I didn't see her.
Right.
But who says that knows your name with a pain look in their face? So I guess I'm being telegraphed or something. Now, I'm doing a talk, and I mentioned this in one of the podcasts. I'm in a church speaking to the seniors up in northeast Alabama. It's actually Anniston. And the church is not there anymore. It's ghost town. Because I was going to follow up on this to see if I could locate who this was. I'm picking up my bags. I got 4 bags with my antique stuff in it and all. And I'm going to walk about 30 feet from the fellowship hall to a long hallway and go down this hallway about 40 feet. It's a hallway. And this guy comes up beside me and says, "Can I help you carry some of that?" "Yeah, grab those 2 bags right there. And if you don't mind, we'll go out in the hallway and take them down to the doors, and you can leave them right there." So we go out in the hallway. He's dressed really unusual, too. He's got on like a palm tree shirt, I think, and nobody else was wearing that. Yeah. But he says to me, he says, I'm really impressed with your ministry. And I don't like that word because con artists use that. You know, send me money and they line their pockets. And I said, well, I'm not fond of that word. Too many con artists use it. I said, it's not a ministry. I'm just a historian who comes to do history talks and some treasure talks and things. I do talk about life, but I'm just a historian. He says, and this inflection, oh, it's a ministry. Pause. He says, you just don't realize it yet. Now, who says things like that?
I don't know.
So we walked down. He doesn't say another word. And we walked to 40 feet, 30 feet, whatever, to the doors. And people don't realize when these doors have bars on them. The reason they did that was for schools because kids were trying to undo doorknobs, fires. Right. Yeah. Those are what safety bars.
Yeah, I think they call them a crash bar.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, anyway, there's 2 doors. I go to the left one, boom, boom, and it won't open. So I shake it for about 3 seconds, and then I turn to tell the guy, I hope this one's unlocked, and he's gone.
Oh, wow.
Hey, now you just what? I'm impressed with your ministry. Oh, it is a ministry. You just don't, and you don't say bye.
Yeah, and he was helping you carry.
Yeah,
your
you don't say when are you coming back.
Right.
You just don't say a word. You just disappear in a matter of seconds. How do you get back to Fellowship Hall? There ain't no doors on the side of that hallway. You got to go back. How do you get back there that quick? So I just. So we'll do number 3, then we get into the treasure sale. This is true. I'm in South Central Alabama doing a talk for some seniors Sunday afternoon. And I've got time to kill. And I go up, and there's this fire station, and there's the open bay doors down there. And there's one fire truck, and the doors are up, and then the sunshine's shining through. And I'm thinking to myself, Jim Phillips, why are you doing this today? You're not making hardly any money on this and stuff. I mean, why are you out here doing this? And I walk down these 80 steps or so, and there's a silhouette of what looks like a homeless man in there with a cup of a suitcase and a duffel bag, I think. And he's silhouetted. And as I walk under the door of the fire station garage there, he comes into view. He's got like a gray beard. He's kind of rough looking. And I said, "Hey." He says, "Hey." I said, "I'm Jim Phillips. I'm just in town to do a history talk for some seniors down here at the church, and I thought I'd come out here and kill a little time, maybe meet a fireman who's into old bottles or something." He says, walk up to him, he says, I repeat it, "I'm Jim Phillips. I'm just here to do a history talk." He said, "That's not why you're here." And here we go with this tone of the voices. It's a tone of knowledge. Yeah. It's got certainty to it. It's definite. It's comforting. And it's like, listen to me. It's got that. That's not why you're here. I said, "Yes, I am." He says, "You're here because they need you." I says, "They need me?" He says, "I'm here because I'm needed here." He said he left the crash, I think it was 1996, of was Value Jet. Airliner crashed in the Everglades. Killed everybody on it. I've done a talk about air crashes. Yeah. It's not a pleasant subject.
No.
It'll keep you from getting on an airliner again. You were talking about the door blowing up. Yeah. Are you still going to fly? Yeah, anyway, he said he left the crash, of which nobody survived, and he travels the country where there's pain and loneliness and suffering to comfort people. And he said, "That's why I'm here today." And he said, "That's why you're here." And I'm just saying, I'm just here to do a history talk. So anyway, I don't remember. It's kind of like in Men in Black where they zap you with a ray gun, Yeah. They come in and they chase these 3 aliens in a living room, and the old couple's watching the Lawrence Welk rerun, right? Eating popcorn. And their mouths are hanging open because they just saw 2 aliens go through being chased by 2 guys, right, in black suits. So they turn to him and say, "You really didn't see this." And then they zap them with a ray gun, and they don't remember anything. So it's kind of like, but anyway, he says, he holds his hands out, and he says, grab my hands, or hold my hands, and he prayed. And it was the most magnificent prayer. It wasn't like some old honky-tonk preacher. You know, they all go, we just ask you. And I'm not mocking. I mean, some of those people are sincere, but it's like, one minister did that who got famous and rich, so they're all doing that. We just ask you. Everybody started talking like Billy Graham. He had that Carolina accent. I love Billy Graham. His son, I love his son. I think they're honorable men. They're great men. But did he go about? About, and all the ministers that never said about, about.
Yeah, about.
So, they all mimic anyway. But he didn't mimic any minister. That's what I'm saying. They're great ministers out there.
It was authentic.
Yeah, it was authentic.
Yeah.
The prayer was beautiful, and it was for direction. To go where there's the pain, the loneliness, and the suffering, it was for direction with his eyes closed. And I held my hand. It was beautiful.
Oh, wow.
I mean, and I felt so honored and comforted by this man. And so I lowered my hands. He lowered his hands. I said, well, I better get to the church and make this talk. Here's my business card. It's got my phone number on it. And maybe you could call me sometime. And I want to do his voice exactly how he said it. He says, I don't need your card with your phone number. I know how to reach you. Pause.
Wow.
And when I do, you'll know it.
Oh, wow.
Just like that. Now, I pitched that at a couple of churches to people. I did it at a library. Would that scare you? Everybody says it scares me.
It doesn't scare me.
It doesn't scare me.
No.
But I tell you, like when I'm sitting on the mountain watching the sunset, if some stranger comes up behind me and I turn around and staring at me, my first words are going to be, do I have to go now? You know, I mean, but... Or
depending on what kind of day you might be, where you been? What took you so long?
And you're hoping you're going to the right place.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, I mean, because he was comforting, and I think there was this angelic aura about him. Now, was he somebody, let me add this in, this may dilute the supernatural sound of him, but I want to be completely honest with everything I say. He said he had worked for the Miami newspaper. He said, I was a reporter.
Yeah.
Now, did he perish on a plane crash? Or was he just covering the story?
Right, yeah.
He may have been covering the story. He said it was horrific.
Yeah,
it was sad and horrific. And he says, and now I travel the country. Yeah. So I got the feeling, not an angel, but a man who witnessed horror, who now travels because he's seen so much pain and suffering, tried to alleviate pain and suffering.
Right.
But the way he prayed.
But either one, the fact that you met him right there.
A mortal that becomes a walking angel, you know what I mean? So anyway, so I'm privileged, I think, in all three instances for those people to have approached me. Okay?
Right.
I got to get this.
All right, we'll pause.
That's the daughter.
All right, so Jim, talking about that may be the angel and death. So when you're out searching for stuff, you got to be careful searching for stuff too, so you don't die.
Well, I took a phone call that nobody got to hear, but did I say he may very well have been a reporter?
Yeah.
Did I get that in there?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he may have been a reporter that witnessed this horrible crash and decided there's so much pain in the world, I'm going to cross the country.
Right.
Either way, in my book, he's an angel.
Absolutely.
Natural, supernatural. Either way, I was honored to meet the man. Okay, we want to talk about the next section. I can say it.
Yeah.
Searching for treasure, but finding danger.
Yeah.
Folks, you're out there metal detecting or digging old bottles. It can be very dangerous. My daughter, who just called, who's now a wonderful 25-year-old, when she was about 8, 9 years old, I would take her metal detector with me sometimes, and I took her to this old bottle dump, which was out in North Birmingham. And she said, Dad, am I imagining this, or am I sitting in a 20-foot pit with you while it's getting dark and the sun's going down? I says, sweetheart, I hate to tell you this, but it ain't your imagination. She said, I was afraid of that. Anyway, you're digging bottles. I didn't even put this in my notes. You better be careful.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm digging bottles from the 1880s up to about 1910, and don't dig in tunnels. Man, I've seen guys crawl up in a tunnel, and they're up in there, and they shouldn't be in there. I saved a man's life. I actually did. Steve was a cop. I believe there was 2 cops, I think this one was named Steve. But I go out to dig on a Sunday afternoon in what was called the old bakery dump. It's in the woods, and people used to dig out there, and there's pits and all. And I started digging again, and people started digging. So there's this pit, and he's dug a tunnel. And I hear this digging sound. I go over the hill. Well, there's this head of Steve sticking out. Now, from the neck down, his feet are in a tunnel, and there's about 5 feet of dirt above them.
Wow.
And I said, Steve, are you crazy? I said, that could cave in. Well, no, it's secure. Now, it had been dug before. Half the dirt above them is loose dirt. It's
Yeah.
not like hard. But I said, you better be careful. Well, it's about 3 feet above them. It's not 5 feet. I'm exaggerating. But anyway, I said, I'm going to stick near you in case there's a disaster. So I'm digging about 10 feet from him, and I hear this whoop, and I know what's happened. And I run over there, and you can see his head, but the whole bank caved in on him.
Golly.
And he's trying to breathe. He's going,
Oh, wow.
and I jump down and I start clawing. I can't pull him out. I got my hands with his armpits. I'm pulling. I can't do
Right.
it. I start crying.
Yeah.
I'm sobbing. Because I'm going to watch this man die, and I can't save him.
Right.
And I'm clawing. He's trying to move. I'm clawing. He's trying to move. Finally starts coughing. We get a little space in there. We're clawing and clawing and clawing.
Yeah.
This takes about 5 frantic minutes digging, him moving all. And finally I can pull him out.
Wow.
And he said, you saved my life.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah, you did.
I did. He couldn't have done it by himself. But
Wow.
Anyway, but that's scary. That's dangerous. I'm digging bottles, and I fell backward once with my hip, and I'm just broken bottle and just cut. I'm bleeding all over
yeah.
the place.
Yeah.
Should have gotten stitches, but you can bleed.
So maybe you should probably always have a partner with you. Maybe
Yeah,
probably a
anything
good
you
idea.
do like that,
Yeah.
it can be dangerous. And I talk about metal detecting. You know, I went hiking the other day up by Cahaba River. Didn't have my metal detector, but I went down. in
What?
the
You
woods.
didn't have your metal detector?
Nah.
That was a
I
bad.
want to. You've got to hold limbs, pulling yourself up these steep banks. You know, leaves everywhere and all that. So I didn't. There's nothing you're going to find out there. Maybe occasional pull tab in those woods.
Right.
But you can actually go to the river by that fire station on 280, and there's about 5 miles of woods.
Yeah.
It's all woods with
Yeah.
all those houses and all, but they have a wooded area up the river. So I hike about a mile, half a mile up the river, and I go up this steep bank and all this or that, and I say, well, I better get back. It's going to get dark. And, you know, I'm in my 70s.
Yeah.
My heart's pounding good. I feel good. So I start to go down this steep embankment, and I slip.
Oh, no.
And I slide in the leaves about 40 feet and land on my head in soft leaves in a ditch because I could see there's no rocks.
Yeah.
But, Philip, I turn around. I can't get up.
Yeah.
And I'm laying down there, and my knees are stiff, and I'm trying, and there's nothing to hold on to. So I'm flopping around down there, and I need to grab a limb or something to lift me up because
Yeah.
I'm kind of tired too. I crawl on my knees and hands about 45, 50 feet at a diagonal angle to find a tree limb and lift myself up. But there you are out there by yourself.
Right.
Now, so imagine you hit your head. That can happen metal detecting.
Yeah. And you don't have to be in your 70s for that to happen.
Oh,
That can happen to anybody,
I fell,
anytime.
when I was younger, I fell 3 times in one day up on a hill.
Yeah.
I had bad falls falling down by myself. Something could have happened to me. Not to mention chest pains.
Right.
In those same woods, when I hiked a quarter of a mile up in the woods once, I went through some bushes. There's a 6-foot-4 guy stared at me. Out there in the woods, but this 6-foot-4 guy by him said he's giving me the dirty eye, and he's got a cell phone. I think it's a drug deal.
Yeah, probably
He's out in
so.
the woods rendezvous. But I just looked at him and says, just taking my Sunday stroll. He got the hell out of there quick. I kept looking back. He wasn't following me. So he's out there for some nefarious reason. But you got to be careful. Now, sinkholes.
Yeah, we're in Alabama, so the sinkholes, man.
Sinkhole
Ooh,
capital
goodness
of
gracious.
America. We have what's called the Golly Hole. Did
Yeah.
you go to University of Montevallo?
I
son?
did, yeah, I
Well,
did.
You
Yep.
ever hear about the Golly
I
Hole?
did,
Oh,
yes.
God bless you for this. So I don't lie. Got me a witness. It's 1972 or something. My wife was at the University of Montevallo then, I think. But out in the woods, they felt the ground shake. And it was dark. Well, the next day, went out there. It's a hole about 80 to 120 feet deep.
Yep.
300 feet long.
Yes.
And about 150 feet wide and 100-some feet deep. Straight
Just
down.
gone. Just gone.
I mean, that's like 2 city blocks just falls into the earth.
Right.
100-some feet.
Yeah.
I mean, there's sinkholes in places where I hunt. I hunted a plantation out of Montevallo the other day. I asked the lady that lives there now, her husband died, how about these sinkholes? Oh, we filled them all in. They had one I ran up on was scary. They had pipes around it. Don't fall in it. But she said trees are disappearing in sinkholes.
Yeah.
All trees just disappear.
Wow.
You got a 100-something foot tree just falls into a hole.
Golly.
Let me tell you what's going on down there. You got underground rivers.
Right.
And they're eating caverns.
Yeah.
And the caverns come up toward the surface, then they cave in. Mr. Bush forgot his first names in Florida, true story. It was in the national news. His brother hears him scream. And he opens the door to Mr. Bush's bedroom. There's nothing but a black abyss. The whole floor and bed just sank.
Wow.
Mr. Bush fell like 100-something feet into an underground river
Golly.
They could never find his body. They didn't try to. He's gone.
Yeah, for sure.
Him in his bed, and the floor of that bedroom went straight down into a black abyss, into an underground
You got to
river.
think it was his day to go, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's a mile, 10 miles away, dead in an underground river. They demolished that house and filled it in. You can find sinkholes. I'm hunting this plantation out of Tuscaloosa. You don't want to find them. They'll find you, and nobody will find you if they find you.
So how do you know that you may be coming up on? What do you look for if you're just out in the woods? Are you looking?
Well, swampy out in the pasture, if it's wet,
right,
and it stays wet, there's a stream, it's an underground stream, water's oozing up. You better stay away from those.
Gotcha.
Plantation out of Tuscaloosa, I talked about it before, where I think there's this hill with still gold coins in it. We won't get into that. But the guy that owns the property, I told him I wanted to get up, finally work up into this little thicket of pine trees. He had told me he thought there had been a sinkhole up there at one time that filled itself in. Well, I've been hunting down there about 5-6 years, and I found the antebellum, pre-Civil War silver coins, half dimes, 1830s. I found Confederate belt buckle, things like that. Okay, anyway, I'm down there, and I said, I think I'm going to work up into the pine trees now, because I had got up there. What's that washing machine doing up there out in the middle of the pine trees?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. He says, I've marked a sinkhole.
Oh, wow.
I said, are you kidding me? So I'm scared of him, but we go up there, I stay 20 feet away and look. He says, it opened up. It's now about 4 feet across in a circle, 4 or 5 feet circle. He said, when it opened up, it was like the size of a basketball. He says, Jim, it's the top of an underground cave that the water ate out. It ate up to within like 6 inches deep. There was only 6 inches of dirt.
Wow.
Now, I go up there with my big 10-pound pick, the big one. I metal detect. I'm going to get a signal of some kind in there, a pull tab. When I swing that pick one time, that ground's going to open up and Jim Phillips disappears to the face of the earth. He said he measured it 80-something feet straight down, and you could hear the water running down there.
Oh, wow.
So I hit that ground, and you'll never find me.
Yeah.
I'm down in an underground river. That's real danger.
Wow.
And the lady at the plantation out of Montevallo, they've had like 8 or 9 sinkholes open up just in the past few years.
Goodness.
They will swallow you alive.
Wow. And then, of course, you always have Mr. No-Shoulders out there in the springtime. Snakes.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know you don't like to even go out there when it's snake season.
Yeah.
Especially in Alabama. There's some bad snakes out there.
I went up to Blunt Springs, and the old boy that owned the barbecue place up there, Dale, he died. His riding lawnmower rolled over on him. But there's a lady, she was an old spinster, and she lived up there. I can't believe I'm going blank on her name. I talk about it all the time, and I'm going blank on her name. She stole money during the Civil War working at the post office and buried gold up there, hid it, would give the money to the poor widows, travel around and give them money to help them out. True story. But anyway, we went up there to see where her cabin had been, and we're walking along a path, and I metal detected some, and he shouted, snake. And there was what's called, I didn't know what a feather tip rattlesnake was, but looks like a feather tip. And it rattles.
Yeah.
And it was looking at us in a hole in the bank where this road was. There was erosion, and it was sitting there looking at us. And anyway, so we went on past it. But that's the kind of thing you can come up on. Coral snakes, all kinds of snakes out there. You can get bit. So you got to be careful with them. Poison ivy can kill you if you get it infected.
Right.
Poison oak and poison ivy. Rabies. My daughter, who just called a minute ago, she was a little girl. We were hunting this old plantation site, and this raccoon came up on us and walked right in front of us. It kept making noises, going, and I said, don't touch it, don't touch it. I thought it was a rabbit. It was a pet raccoon.
Oh.
This guy, could have been rabbit, but this raccoon wanted some food. We didn't know that. But now, bats, I know friends that hunt gold nuggets, and they're the place where miners had put in some tunnels, and they would go in. They showed me video of gold glittered in the walls of this Arbacucci. But now you go in there and bats fly around. Do you know, I've looked this up, science research, 1 out of every 100, that's 1%, average in all bats in case, 1 out of every 100 has rabies.
Ugh.
Now people will tell you, well, a bat won't bite you because it's got radar.
Yeah.
A rabid bat will bite a damn bus.
Right.
Because they don't know, they don't care. They got rabies. That's why animals with rabies bite rocks and attack cars. you doggone right a rabid bat
That's
will
right,
bite
that's
you.
right.
So will a rabid dog or a raccoon or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
You got to be careful of that stuff.
Yeah, they have no realization of what's going on, no rationalization. It's just whatever's in front of me, I'm going after.
I've got down here spider bites too. You better be careful.
Oh, yeah, spiders.
People don't know what a brown recluse is. Black widows can kill you. If you're really allergic to anything, even an ant bite can kill you.
Yellow jackets, hornets.
Yeah, and
wasps.
you got to have somebody with you.
Because especially yellow jackets, because they build in the ground. So if you're out
Yeah.
there metal detecting, digging, there's a good chance you could dig up one of those guys.
The farmer can shoot your butt off.
Get permission.
Yeah, you need permission to when you go on a property. I had one guy almost accost me up in Cullman. I was hunting where an old house was out near the city park, and I was down the ditch, and I thought it was city property. Apparently, he owned it. He drove up in a trunk and accused me of truck. He drove up in. I said, trunk. He drove up and accused me of breaking into that old house that was there, built about 1890s, and it wasn't me, but he was yelling at me.
Yeah.
And he started trying to follow me, and we kind of got away from it. But he's dangerous, and you don't know what people will do to you. There's this attitude, it's my property, I can shoot you and kill you, whatever.
Yeah.
And then all they got to do now, some of the laws is, well, I was defending myself. I felt threatened.
Right.
And
they may not be right, but if you're the one that's dead, it doesn't really matter.
yeah, you can't prove otherwise.
Well, and the other thing now with all the hunting property and game cameras, and you pretty much have to assume no matter where you go, no matter how deep in the woods you think you are, there's probably a camera somewhere that's watching you that's going to trigger some hunter or some landowner that's they're going to know what you're doing. So you dang well better do your homework and get permission for anywhere you've got to go.
Well, I've had people come up on me. I've hunted some church property, old historic churches, and I'm going to say God bless the ministers. They've come out laughing and says, now, whatever treasure you find, you and I are splitting it, right? And God bless them. That's so nice. I've never had one of them get mad at me.
Right.
But I try to get...
But you've never found anything either.
Well, on old churches, yeah, I have.
Yeah, but
let me bring up something.
I was going to say, they may say that jokingly, but
don't
find something
hunt.
valuable.
I was talking about the Alabama Historical Commission doesn't like people that own metal detectors, at least a couple that I've met and all this, and professors in history. But I hunt private property. I donate things to museums. Sometimes I sell stuff, but I donate. And then I got my own little museum. People get to see stuff. Mm-hmm. And I stay away from places that are historically significant. Let me tell you, a Treasure magazine published a story once. I probably shouldn't be bringing this up because those that are ruthless will take it in the wrong direction. How to find those gold wedding rings. Remember me talking to you about that?
I do.
Well, you go out to the cemetery and
Right.
hunt around the tombstones, and then the surviving spouse will lovingly put that way, and they will.
Yeah.
They're not everywhere, but there's one here and there where a loving surviving spouse put a wedding band in there. Folks, it's grave robbing.
Right.
And you ought to be put in prison for it, just as though you dug up a casket.
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
called grave robbing.
Yeah.
You've also violated the sanctity of a marriage or relationship.
Right.
That doesn't belong to you. It's an act of love. How dare you go out there
Yeah.
looking for wedding rings? The stupid Treasure magazine that's now gone bankrupt thanks to COVID and the economy, they print the story. Oh, Bubba, how fond those wedding rings. But that's how ruthless some people are getting on property and doing things.
Yeah.
I hunt the parking areas of old cemeteries where the stagecoaches would stop, not
Yeah.
stagecoaches, the wagons.
Right.
People come in 1880s, 1850s, the Model Ts. They'll park at the bottom of the hill, and you don't go up into the cemetery.
Right.
I will hunt where they park, and I have found things.
Maybe look for some of those old, big, long outdoor concrete tables where they had dinner on
Oh,
the
yeah,
ground.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
You can find stuff out there.
You find modern stuff there, Roosevelt dimes and Mercury dimes and all. By the way, I did find a gold tooth at the bottom of the cemetery.
Oh, no.
Yeah, somehow or another, I guess out of a body.
Oh, gosh.
A casket, wood casket, coffin collapsed, and I'm metal detecting down where the wagons park, and I pull up a giant molar, and it's full of gold.
wow.
Now, gold for teeth is 16 karat.
Oh,
That's
wow.
more than 14 karat. There's some money in that.
Yeah.
I just put it back in the ground.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I put it back in the ground.
Yeah, because you never know what's coming out with that tooth.
Well, it wasn't in the cemetery, and I put it. Now, in case you think I'm a saint, I went back and tried to find it later. I did.
When you got in the car and figured out how much gold
Man,
was
I
going.
couldn't buy groceries. I keep telling you, my Social Security check won't take you and me to McDonald's for a Happy Meal 5 times. It's that small. And I love you for chewing me out, saying you're not charging enough during these talks. I do come across some treasures every now and then, make a little extra money. But yeah, I went back and tried to find it. And it was a little wooded parking place at the bottom of an old cemetery. There are no graves there. You could see where all the wheels and wagons were, but I couldn't find it. But apparently it may have come out of the grave and come down the hill somehow with erosion. I don't know.
Wow.
But they actually printed a story telling you how to do that. You don't want to go in the caves. People out west, Nevada, Arizona, they go out and even in pairs, don't go in caves. Don't go in mining tunnels and all.
Yeah.
It's really dangerous. I talked about, I like to put a treasure or two in there.
Jim's now going through his bag of
Oh, I
treasures.
got something here. It's a great story. It's got nothing to do with Alabama. Let me dump this out here. I'm speaking at a retirement community, and
Jim just dumped out probably, $100,000 worth of coins on the podcast desk.
Did you see that, U.S.?
I do. That's cool.
That's a Civil War Union Army Cavalry boss bit. This would go in the bridle bit, and to show it's U.S. Cavalry says U.S. on it.
Oh, that's cool.
And I found that at a place where the Union soldiers camped out, and the Confederate soldiers also. What I wanted to show you was, if I've got it with me, don't tell me I don't have it with me. There it is. I spoke several times at a retirement community, and this elderly couple, and I don't know if they're still alive, but February of last year, he was 97, she was 96.
Wow.
They befriended me, and they gave me things. I made them take some money. And her father, in 1908, as a sailor, maybe it was February 1909, Teddy Roosevelt sent the Great White Fleet, 17 steel United States battleships painted white. They called it the Great White Fleet. Teddy Roosevelt, speak softly and carry a big stick. He's showing off Americans' big stick. It's our Navy.
Yeah.
17 battleships tour the world. They're about to cross the Atlantic, come back home at the end of Roosevelt's term. That's Teddy Roosevelt, okay?
Right.
They stop at Port Said in Egypt. And there's a lottery. She told me her father, as I think an 18-year-old sailor, wins the lottery, and a few sailors get to have shore leave. So they go ashore. And they take a train that's about 90 miles down to the Giza Plateau in Cairo. That's where the big pyramids are.
Yeah.
There's about 500 pyramids in Egypt.
Right.
All kinds of people got buried in pyramids, but they're 15 feet tall, 20 feet tall. We're talking the big ones.
Right.
Giza Plateau. The Great Pyramid, you've heard of it, is Khufu's Pyramid. That's the biggest on earth. Then there's Khafre's pyramid, and I forgot the third one. Anyway, the sailors go. No security back then. They go to the sands in front of the Great Pyramid, Khufu's Pyramid, and they start digging in a pit and dig out a clay jar, and there's ancient coins in it.
Oh, wow.
They date from about 200 BC to about 300 AD. They were buried during the days of Roman occupation, all right? This is Cleopatra the First. This is one of the coins.
Yep.
They stole them, brought them back to the ship. I'm home free. I called a legal antiquities lawyer. He says they've been out of Egypt more than 70 years.
You're good.
You own them.
Oh, wow.
I told you I put this on eBay knowing nobody would buy it. And I says, you buy it and wait for the mummy to visit you one moonlit night standing in your bedroom window, coming for revenge because you took the coins. That's what mummies do, you know. They come for revenge. But anyway, this is Cleopatra the First. And there it is. And this may be one of only two known to exist. There's Cleopatra as Isis, the Roman goddess. This is her depicting as Isis. Only one of these where her braided hair flows back have I seen. It says possibly unique, one of a kind. I got one.
Wow.
What's it worth? I don't know.
Wow.
Now, the Roman eagle on the back is starting to come through. But isn't that amazing?
That is so cool.
Hey, it's starting to get, I can now see her hair better, her chin, her eyes. When I touched it, it turned purple. Tell me why.
That's weird.
Yeah, I touched it.
It's a mood ring.
Yeah, see, when I touched it, it turned purple.
That's crazy. We'll put a picture of that on your website.
Yeah, we'll do that. But that's now, the daughter that just called, I put it in a bezel for her.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make her an Egyptian gown. Mm-hmm. She's going to have a necklace with a bezel with Cleopatra the First in it. Isn't that
Wow,
classic?
that's cool.
And
That's very cool.
I'm trying to find somebody to make a classical-looking Egyptian gown from that era.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Anyway, that's kind of fascinating. How long have we been talking?
All right, we're going to wrap this one up. So, look, everybody be careful out there. Be safe. If you're doing this, take a buddy with you. Have the buddy system. Make sure you don't fall in a cave or a hole
don't
or a
be stupid
sinkhole.
like me. I'll be out today probably along the river hiking alone at 75 years old.
So you can say, Jim, we told you so, right? So, and hey, listen, if you need to book Jim for a talk or you just want to learn more, listen to more podcasts, see what all is out there, then all you got to do is go to JimPhillipsAlabama.com. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to all of the podcasts right here. And, Jim, we will see you next time.
Gold, 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 they just gotta have that gold, gold, they'll do.
Thanks for listening to another episode. If you have questions for Jim Phillips or would like more information on his speaking availability, visit his website at JimPhillipsAlabama.com.